What's going on, guys? I know it's been a minute since I posted, but I got a good one for y'all. So we got a little bit of a series coming through. But this is basically, as you guys saw the title, building a shop and garage. Finally, it's for all these projects, for the bikes, the cars, etc. So let's get straight into the video and show you guys what we're working on. All right, guys, this is where we first started. After the concrete was all done and set, we went ahead and put our 4 walls up. So this is actually, I think, the most part that I enjoyed about this whole project. I don't know why, but I enjoyed making the walls and lifting them up. I think it's like a big part of the process that you can see visually. So yeah, I got the 4 walls stood up, and as well as you can see, we're anchoring the walls down there as I'm tightening those up, those washers and bolts down there. Another thing I gotta say is that this whole clip that you guys are gonna see is gonna be in a span of like 3 to 4 days. So this relatively went pretty quick. You can see here, this is where the entrance small door is going to be. That's kind of why we have that cut out and why we're cutting it off right there. But the platform of this is going to be a 20 by 35 shop. So you can see here we're putting a 22 header up there. This is going to be also the entrance to the garage door, the big garage door. So the garage door should be about like 16 feet wide and about 8 feet high. Moving on here pretty quickly, we finish up putting up the header, and then we're putting up our double plate or a top plate. A lot of this language is also very new to me, since this is like the first time I've ever done construction or framing. But I really enjoy the process. I've learned quite a bit too, so I'm hoping that I can continue to do more woodworking projects, and as well as other projects like this, because I definitely had a blast, and it was definitely a good time with my dad. But you can see here up here, this is where we're putting up the rafter and trusses that are coming up next. As you can see here, we were limited to just one ladder, so my dad's on the far side, picking them up one by one as I'm up on the other side of the wall, just hanging on by my feet. But we move along all the way down to install all of these, and this has kind of been what took the longest part, because there's a lot of physical work and as well as just trying to manhandle it. But definitely another ladder would have been helpful here, but you can see here I kind of took a break in between. But finally, this is kind of the stage where you kind of see everything start piecing together, and you can kind of visually see and imagine the whole shop a lot better, because this is to the standpoint where you can actually start closing it all off, which is like the most exciting part. But that's literally what this next clip is about right here. So you can see all the OSB or plywood we're putting up here, kind of covers it all up. We had another friend come out and help us, which sped up a lot of things. But you can see here there's about 3 or 4 guys working on this. But like I said, after this stage, this is kind of where you can get visually a little bit more a better idea of what this will look like, and then you can kind of start planning of kind of where you want these toolboxes and equipment inside the shop. But then you start to realize, like, a lot of this feels big at first, but then once you start moving things in, a lot of that space is going to get taken up pretty quickly. But we made it as large as we could, and then we kind of got it a little bit higher, so it does feel a little bit bigger, and then maybe we can have some overhead storage as well. But coming up here in the front, we're kind of finishing up the OSB up here, as well as getting ready to start the roof for the next day. And as y'all can see here, the sun starts to set, as well as the equipment guy coming in with the new load of materials. So we got a bunch more plywood as well as roofing materials. And then starting bright and early the next day, we go ahead and start and knock out the rest of the OSB for the roof. And then you can see me and my dad are out here in the front finishing the front end of the garage. So 2 teams working in different spots, which makes this so much faster and efficient. Coming on here for the next day, we're gonna go ahead and finish with the house wrap. So we got 2 different brands because we ran out of house wrap. So you can see the Block-It wrap and the Tyvek wrap. But coming up here, this is where it starts to get a lot more closer to the end product, which is kind of crazy because it's just been a couple of days of just nonstop working on this garage. You can see this clip here coming up next. This is what the garage used to look like. This was on demo day as well, so we had a bunch of junk to get out. But this used to be a 10 by 10 garage, and we almost, I don't know, tripled it to a 20 by 35. So crazy how small it was before, and then you can see here tearing it down. after demo day, you can see here what we destroyed as well of the concrete. So a lot of concrete to be destroyed, but this was all done with a sledgehammer, and the concrete is the only thing we professionally outsourced. So you can see here, this was the finished product of the layout of the shop slash garage. So you can see all those anchor bolts in there as well. But after that, we were pretty satisfied with this, and they finished off the rest of the driveway for us as well. And then coming back to where we were at the previous clips, this is the roofing. A lot of it's done right now, but I did not get any footage. Lastly, these are the clips of the inside view of the garage and shop. You can see here us installing 2 windows, one on the right, one on the left, and a little bit off-center to hopefully maximize the amount of sunlight coming in. Lastly here, I'm just going ahead and going down the row and putting all these hurricane ties in so that we can be nice and secure, as well as ready for the inspector to come and check it out. This was actually a learning curve for me because I've never done this before, but I got the hang of it, and then I feel like once you get the motion of it, it becomes pretty easy. This is where I decided to take a break and put together my rack that I got from Home Depot. This is just a basic 5-tier rack. You can see here, this is what we used for a lot of the storage of the extra lumber that we had, and as well as the lumber that we're planning to use, because if we go ahead and just leave it on the ground, it's going to go ahead and rot, freeze. Lastly, it's just going to be a lot of tidy work, cleaning up a bunch of the extra materials we had and any garbage laying out. But this is the end of the video, but this is where it starts to get exciting because you get to see a lot more of the cooler and finer details. But like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know it was kind of short and erratic. Like I said, stay tuned because we got a lot of good stuff coming up, and I'll show you guys in the next episode what we got done so far.